Star Wars Landspeeders. Who doesn't love them? I do, and I customized one. I'm back, and man, we have so much to get through. How's it going, toy fiends? I'm Factor from Irikanji Toys, and this is not a toy company, and I'm back. A very, very long hiatus from YouTube, but I've got so much stuff that I'm going to share over the next couple of months. Firstly, I'm going to go all the way back to a project that we did, as this is not a toy scene, this is not a toy store, this is not a toy company, this is not a toy, etc., etc. And that is our annual 80s toy mashup exhibitions. The very first one that we did of these was, wow, like over 2 years ago. And we created a resin Landspeeder that we had a whole bunch of artists from here in Melbourne go through and customize and turn into really rad stuff. Now, this is an archival video, so for the past 2 years, I've been recording all the video of all the things that I've been making. I just haven't had a laptop because it died to be able to make the videos for all of my projects. So this one is a little different. It's a bit of a mishmash of phone videos and stuff, and I've done a bit of a voiceover. So bear with me because this is my very first voiceover that I've done, and I hope it's not boring or anything like that. But whatever, this is my Star Wars Landspeeder for the Landspeeder Project. Enjoy! So this is the resin Landspeeder that we cast. We made a whole bunch of these, I think maybe 40 or 50 of them. This is basically the early late 70s Landspeeder, the original one from Star Wars A New Hope. It was done in a few parts. We had to do the back thruster as a separate one. So yeah, this is the boxes. Well, sorry, it's not the box. What am I talking about? These are just another 2 examples of the casts. So just using some of the local resin, 2 different types here. One was the Easy Cast and the other was the Solid Solutions resin that we have down here in Australia. We tried to label a couple of parts so that they could see where to put the visor and stuff. So this is my initial build. Yeah, about this, but I'm actually using a old G.I. Joe toy on the front of this. It was really broken. It's in pieces. It's a bit of sacrilege, but you know, whatever. I think maybe the biggest sacrilege here is, if you can spot it, I have a Star Wars Landspeeder front end on it. I really like this piece. It's just an orphan piece. I don't have the other parts to this Landspeeder, so don't feel too about it. It's okay. It just looks really cool on the front of this, and I just put a dude in the back just for sizing, you know, like. So just building it out a bit more. You can see on the thrusters I've put a couple of, you know, extra rocket pieces and stuff like that. Started going through and putting some greeblies, and I've got some guns. These were from some kind of robot, like a Chinese $2 shop robot or something. And I'll come back to these little tiny blue bits on the front here in a second. Oh, and on the underneath is a V8 car engine piece from a model. You can see it a little more here. I'm putting some struts. Now, on the back here, I realized that it was really low for the thruster, so I've just got some epoxy sculpt and put an extra height on that so that I can put the back thruster a little higher. I put a few tanks on and stuff, and I'm kind of building out the front end here with the red and blue plastics as well. I've just got a old Star Wars figure in the background just for a bit of sizing and scale. I want to make sure that I can actually fit figures inside the Landspeeder here. And there's a Gundam gun as like kind of a roof rack thing, and there's pylons on the back. And you'll see what I'm doing with the pylons here. The pylons are, I'm using these old Star Wars, I cast it. It's like the sails. Yeah, I think I've got some more of that coming up in a second where I'm going to show the actual like mold and stuff of it. This is a bit more of a close-up with some janky video. Just me building up. I've put some epoxy sculpt in this to sand down These blue things. Now, these have been hanging around in my box for years. I think since I was a kid. I used to have a whole ton of these, and I don't know what they are or what system they're from. And I want to know if anybody out there knows what 80s toy these are from. I really, really want to find out, because I want to buy a crap ton of it, or as much of it as I possibly can. It's just really cool. So, a bit more of a close-up here. Yeah, apologies again for the video in this. It's just, it's my camera, my phone camera. You can see I've built up and I've kind of like sanded down this back piece here from the epoxy sculpt as well. Just filling in the gaps, making it nice and smooth. Building a bit of the tail end here. And this is where the back thruster will come on. Yes, that was an old piece of Lego. A few little Gundam greeblies. I think this little green bit I lost or broke. And I'm just putting panels in down here as well, just to smooth things out, and lots of epoxy sculpt. And yeah, these thrusters, they move. Again, I really want to know what these pieces are. Building out the front a bit here with epoxy sculpt, just to make it kind of all mesh together a little better, and some spikes and stuff like that. It's really important that I get a nice like kind of squareness on the front of this chair as well. And yeah, like spikes. This green thing, man, I think if we look a bit further down, I would have lost it. And yeah, these fins, like they're my favorite, one of my favorite parts of this entire build. I'll show you the mold and stuff a little bit later, but these are going to go on the back of the Landspeeder. A little bit of an extra Star Wars element to add to it. They'll kind of go up on here and, sail the ship along. This is the undercarriage. So this is the V8 engine from some old car model that I had. I don't even know where that came from. It was, again, sitting in a box somewhere. This is a bit more of a detailed view of the top here. The engine, the nacelles, or the thrusters, or whatever. You can see I'm using a fair bit of epoxy sculpt here and there just to smooth things out and join them all together. The front end's coming along really nicely, as you saw previously. I need to sand all this stuff down. I'm trying to get this really nice and sharp and straight. That's the great thing about epoxy sculpt. You can sand it down like so nice and straight and so smooth. It just takes a bit of work to do it, but you can actually get really hard edges. Can't quite do that with Sculpey stuff. Yeah, just bonding all these guns in and all that kind of stuff. You can see all the jagginess and stuff, I guess. Like, it's really rough here. This, I think, was where I started doing rough builds. I put this control panel on the front here. Yeah, so rough builds, like just throwing things together. And I think this was actually the last time I used epoxy sculpt on a model. I eventually just kind of went for that whole janky kind of like put together look. It was just a lot more effort. So yeah, like I'm really kind of liking this build at the moment. And these pop off. See? These are these little blue things. I don't know what this system is. I really want to know what it is. For me, they would be perfect if I had like a whole array of them. Again, people would probably get annoyed at me for using like, vintage toys and stuff in scratch builds and things like that. But looks good. I'm finding good use for it. And I really, really wanted to show you this. So this is the mold that I made of the sails from the Star Wars toy. I still have this, and I've used it in one or two other things. Like the mold worked really well, I think, but it's just such a cool little piece. It's good if you have existing toys and stuff. You can actually just kind of grab these things and make a mold of them. You don't have to destroy your existing toy. Just showing you my bench here at the moment. Like it's really, really all over the place. This was the Star Wars toy. Yeah, I was reaching around trying to find that. And this kind of is the one. It's like a little mini kind of like skiff. I think this is a Return of the Jedi one. So yeah, it's a little mini skiff, and that's where this sail for the back of these came from. I got everything kind of primed up. I did use Mr. Surfacer on this because I wanted to sand out all of that epoxy sculpt. You can see here now that I've kind of gone through and done a fair bit of that and cleaned it all up. Sanded down some really tight, nice little bits. The front here still needs a bit of sanding. But I just, again, like, this is my favorite part, when you first prime things and everything just kind of comes all together and looks like one cohesive piece. So I love Mr. Surfacer, as you know. It's just, yeah, really cool stuff. So I need some pilots and some dudes in the back. The one on the left is my Dr. Mauser piece. I really love him. And I built him from scratch, but then I had to cast him and modify him up. So I'm actually, you see on the left here, so that's the cast. But in order for him to be able to sit down, I had to kind of like chop him up and all that kind of stuff. So this is like just a little scratch build figure. I'm thinking about maybe putting him on a card back at some stage, because he turned out really, really cool. This is him, the original to scale, next to the primed Landspeeder here. Yeah, one of the fins I knocked off. I'll fix it up later and stuff, you know. And this is me trying to get the cast in like a seating position. I had to chop him up in a few different places and bend some legs and try to position him in so that he fit properly, and then kind of like position his arms and stuff. I originally wanted to put in some like joystick levers and stuff like that so that he's actually piloting. The gun. I forgot to put this on at the very end. I did it all up and it was supposed to be in it, but it wasn't in the final piece. So here's him all kind of like primed up and ready to go. In the right position, he'll fit really nicely, left hand on the joystick and all that. And then I went through and I actually did a silver prime bottom base coat for this. Yeah, I kind of thought that might be nice with the reds and stuff that I was planning on doing. You can see kind of like the very initial laying down of the colors. Now, as you know, I'm going for the kind of like Akira, you know, the motorcycle kind of homage with this piece, and that's mainly in the colors and stuff, I guess. Like, you know, yeah, more base coating, base painting and stuff. I've done a bit of wash and a bit of like just screwing things around on this and making it really dirty and all that kind of stuff. No dry brushing on this yet, but you can kind of see it coming up and beginning to form into what it should be. I went really, really heavy on the wash with this. I made my own wash for this one, so it kind of turned out nicely, but it's just so grungy and so dirty. I didn't want it to look pristine. Like, this was the first piece, and you're going to see lots of videos coming up. This was the first real piece where I really did this kind of wash and dirtying kind of effect. This is you know, the Dr. Mauser all painted up and nice and good to go. Yeah, I reckon I should put him on some card backs and get him out there. This is him seated in the Landspeeder. As you can see, he fits really nicely. Everything's popping. And this is the finished piece, like in the actual exhibition at Lobo's toy store, on the stand. And it looks fantastic. I'm so bloody happy with how this piece turned out. The worst thing is that for some reason I decided I would put it for sale. And I actually sold this piece. Somebody bought it. I don't have this piece anymore. And looking back on it, now I'm really sad. So all my pieces that go into shows now, I'm pricing them really, really high because I kind of want to keep them. The extra money is really nice, and I absolutely love that people buy it and stuff, but I love it, you know. And here's some lightbox photos of the finished piece. Yeah, I was just really, really happy with this. It's turned out fantastic. This was the very first piece in my new kind of direction that I went with these kind of Kitbash pieces as well. There's so many more videos coming up of other pieces that I've done like this. And last but not least, this is just the round video of the completely finished piece in the exhibition. This is just prior to when we opened the show. And I'll do the whole show run through in another video because there was so many amazing pieces. I was just so happy with how this entire thing turned out, and it was a really fun project, and it was the harbinger of many things to come. And there you have it. That's my Landspeeder. Kind of Akira-ish. Well, that was the idea in the back of my head anyways, to kind of create that. I just can't believe it was so long ago. And I'm still, like, as I said in the video, I'm still really quite sad that I sold that piece, but I'm glad that it got a home, you know? So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you did. I'm going to have a lot more stuff coming up. You'll notice that I'm not in my studio, as I mentioned here. I will be in my studio doing these videos, but because I'm just editing and all that kind of thing, like I'm just doing that. I've got a multitude of stuff coming up. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and I forgot. I will be doing a follow-up video to this one where it'll just be a walkthrough of the actual Landspeeder Project exhibition. Plus, we made a book out of the exhibition, and I'll just give you a quick flick through the book as well. So that video is coming up pretty soon. Take it easy, Toy Fiends. Till next time. I can't remember what I was drinking when I did that video. I do know what I was drinking while I was doing this editing and recording, and that's just this. Bottle. Because I love bottle. Bottle. It's an Indonesian tea drink. There is no alcohol in this, but it would probably go really, really well with vodka, and I think I'm going to have to try that next.